Hello everyone, I am Vibhuti Parekh and today we are going to discuss regarding the new trade theories. What are the new trade theories? They began to emerge in the 1970s when the number of economists pointed out that the ability of firms to attain economies of scale might have important implications on the international trade. What are the economies of scale? They are the unit cost reduction associated with a large volume of output. Economies of scale have a number of sources including the ability to spread fixed cost over a large volume and the ability of large producers to utilize specialized employees and equipment that are more productive than the less specialized employees and equipments. They are a major source of cost reduction in many industries including computer software, automobiles, pharmaceuticals and aerospace. For example, Microsoft realized economies of scale by spreading the fixed cost of developing new versions of its Windows operating system, which runs to about $1 billion over the 100 million or so personal computers upon which each new system is ultimately installed. Similarly, automobile companies realize economies of scale by producing a high volume of automobiles from an assembly line where each employee has a specialized task. For example, one will fix only the doors, the other one will fix just the nut bolts of the spark plug, and so on. The new trade theory makes two important points. What are these two important points? First of all, though its impact on economies of scale, trade can increase the variety of goods available to consumers and decrease the average cost of those goods. Secondly, in those industries where the output required to attain economies of scale represent a significant proportion of total world demand, the global market may only be able to support a small number of enterprises. Thus, the world trade in certain products may be dominated by countries whose firms were first movers in their production. For example, Apple is having this benefit. Whenever we are making a new trade theory, there are certain implications of those theories also. So, similar is with the new trade theories. The new trade theory has important implications. The theory suggests that nations may benefit from trade even when they do not differ in resource endowment or technology. Trade allows a nation to specialize in the production of certain products, attaining scale economies and lowering the cost of producing those goods, while buying products that it does not produce from other nations that specialize in the production of those other products. By this mechanism, the variety of products available to consumer in each nation is increased, while the average cost of those products should fall, as should their price, freeing resources to produce other goods and services. The theory also suggests that a country may dominate in the export of a good simply because it was lucky enough to have one or more firms among the first to produce that particular good. Because they are able to gain economies of scale, the first mover in an industry may get a lock on the world market that discourages the subsequent entries. First movers' ability to benefit from increasing returns creates a barrier of entry for the others. In the commercial aircraft industry, the fact that Boeing and Airbus are already in the industry have the benefits of economies of scale discourages new entry and reinforces the dominance of America and Europe in the trade of mid-sized and large jet aircrafts. If it is known to you, then there is no other company in this particular genre. This dominance is further reinforced because global demand may not be sufficient to profitably support another producer of mid-sized and large jet aircraft. So, although Japanese firm might be able to compete in the market, they have decided not to enter the industry but to ally themselves as major subcontractors with primary producers. For example, Mitsubishi Heavy Industries is a major subcontractor for Boeing on the 777 and 7E7 programs. New trade theory is at variance with the Heska-Ohlin theory, which suggests that a company will predominate in the export of a product when it is particularly well endowed with those factors used intensively in its manufacture. New trade theorists argue that The United Nations is a major exporter of commercial jet aircrafts, not because it is better endowed with the factors of production required to manufacture an aircraft, but because one of the first mover in the industry, Boeing, was a US firm. The new trade theory is not at variance with the theory of comparative advantage at all. Economies of scale increases productivity. Thus, the new trade theory identifies an important source of a comparative advantage. This theory is quite useful in explaining trade patterns. Empirical studies seem to support the predictions of the theory that trade increases the specialization of production within an industry, increases the variety of products available to consumers, and result in lower average prices. With regard to first mover advantage and international trade, a study by Harvard business historian Alfred Chandler suggests the existence of the first mover advantage in an important factor in explaining the dominance of firms, certain nations in specific industries. The number of firms is very limited in many global industries, including the chemical industry, the heavy construction equipment industry, the heavy truck industry, the tire industry, the consumer electronics industry, the jet engine industry, and the computer software industry. Perhaps the most contentious implication of the new trade theory is the argument that it generates for government intervention and strategic trade policy. New trade theorists stress the role of luck, entrepreneurship, and innovation in giving a firm the first mover advantage. According to this argument, the reason Boeing was the first mover in commercial jet aircraft manufacture rather than firms such as Great Britain's de Havilland and Fokker Siddeley or Holland's Fokker, all of which could have been, was that Boeing was both lucky and innovative at the same time. One way Boeing was lucky is that de Havilland shot itself in the foot when its Comet jet airliner, introduced 2 years earlier than Boeing's first jet airliner, in the 707, was found to be full of serious technological flaws. Had de Havilland not made some serious technological mistakes, Great Britain might have become the world's leading exporter of commercial jet aircrafts. Boeing's innovativeness was demonstrated by its independent development of the technological know-how required to build a commercial aircraft. Several new trade theorists have pointed out, however, that Boeing's research and development costs are largely paid for by the US government. The 707 was a spin-off from the government-funded military program. Herein is a rationale for government interventions by the sophisticated and judicious use of subsidies. Could a government increase the chances of its domestic firm becoming first mover in emerging industries as the US government apparently did with Boeing? If this is possible and the new trade theory suggests it might be, we have an economic rationale for a proactive trade policy that is at variance with the free trade prescription of the trade theories we have reviewed so far. That's all with the new trade theories. Thank you and have a good day.